Well, we got that Pyro update to look forward to soon. That means new weapons, and that's good, right? But because it's Pyro, I could pretty much guarantee you that a portion of the player base will probably complain about the weapons, no matter what they are. I guess that could be said about any weapon, but, you know, doubly so for Pyro. Unfortunately, Valve has a past of just giving Pyro weapons that rely on a crit gimmick or a mini crit gimmick. And Pyro does have a decent amount of unlocks, but only 3 of those are flamethrowers, so that is kinda limiting to how Pyro plays, you know? It gets you thinking, like, how could we add unlocks for Pyros that meaningfully change the way the class is played, but don't necessarily rely on crits? Are we sick of those crit weapons yet? I mean, just look at this. Look at those weapons. Look at them all. I've got 2 flamethrowers that are partly based on some unused weapon attributes, so who knows, we might actually see something like them later on. And one of those is the ability to charge Airblast. This flamethrower's compression blast can be charged to increase its range and its knockback. 2 seconds for the maximum charge, and at the full 2 seconds, your Airblast will have double the range and double the push force. But wait, there's more. If you remember, in 2011, when they were testing the detonator in the TF2 beta game thing, it was basically a rocket jump for Pyro. Not like the current in-game detonator's hop, I mean like a real jump. But that seems way too good for a secondary, especially one that didn't really have any major downsides. So you see where I'm going with this? You get it? Let's say we give this flamethrower a similar attribute to the force of nature, that Airblast deals knockback to the target and the shooter when airborne. So that allows for Airblast jumps. Just a small little hop at no charge, but something comparable to a rocket jump at the full 2-second charge. And bam! Pyro just got a whole lot more mobile. But it needs downsides. First off, a minus 25% damage penalty. Direct fire damage from this weapon it'll be pretty bad. And a minus 30% afterburn duration, which shortens the afterburn time from 10 seconds to 7. So your residual damage and window for follow-ups decreases a little bit. And unlike rocket jumping, Pyro isn't damaged by the Airblast jump, but there is essentially a 2-second delay between when you could actually perform a high jump again. We'd be giving Pyro new mobility options, but at the cost of damage. This weapon would not be good at being an actual flamethrower. Running enemies down with this weapon, while possible, it's really not effective, you know? So you gotta rely on that Airblast in your other weapons. Not too bad. Alright, for the next flamethrower, let's start with kind of a neutral attribute. The flames on this weapon will have kind of a reverse fall off. All other flamethrowers do less damage the farther away you are from the target and more up close. This one would deal full damage at max range and roughly 30% less at the closest range. Then we have a plus 33% flamethrower reach. Self-explanatory enough. The range is increased by 1/3. And you would also gain a speed boost while firing. Basically, the disciplinary action effect whenever you're holding your primary fire. But, when this weapon is active, you move 10% slower, bringing Pyro's movement speed with the flamethrower out from 100% to 90%, but to roughly 122% when firing, which is faster than the Power Jacks bonus. And lastly, this weapon has a minus 50% max primary ammo on wear, so you've only got 100 flamethrower ammo. You see what I did here? You've got a weapon that gives you a speed boost when firing. That just encourages WM1, right? No! The flames do less damage the closer you get. So you'd want to use that speed boost for strafing and bothering people from a farther range. But you can't just constantly hold down your fire button because the weapon doesn't have a lot of ammo. You can use this weapon to get to mid faster, but you'll need to collect ammo along the way. Ideally, you want to be firing as much as possible so you're not moving slower, but you also need to be smart not to blow through all your ammo. And reduced ammo also means you only get 5 air blasts at full. So you need to be smart with when and how you use that ammo, and also how you move around. But if you do it properly, it makes Pyro a threat at ranges it wasn't capable of before. I think it'd be interesting to see how it would play out and how people would make use of it. Could be fun. People have been suggesting things like a Molotov cocktail or a napalm bomb and stuff like that for Pyro secondaries for forever. While not necessarily one of those two things, I do like the general idea of giving grounded flames that kind of act as area denial at the cost of a ranged weapon. I was thinking maybe make it like a throwable liquid like Girardi or Mad Milk, a gasoline can or something. And when you throw it at people, coated enemies will be ignited by taking damage and take mini crits from direct fire sources. Okay, I guess I couldn't completely escape giving Pyro another crit gimmick, But this is a secondary feature on this. It doesn't really count. It does count. I failed you. But this means you can throw it at an entire group of enemies that are out of your reach and then just have teammates ignite them for you. And as long as they have gasoline on them, they will take mini crits from direct fire, like flamethrowers, or I guess the heater's ring or something. And those players with gas on them will be considered wet. Yeah, Neon Annihilator combo, anyone? Yeah. And where the gas can breaks, I guess it's made of some pretty flimsy stuff. But where it breaks, you get a gasoline slick that could be ignited with fire. The gasoline would stay on the ground for 10 seconds, but once ignited, the fire lasts for 5. Then enemies who walk through that will take damage and get lit up. But because this is a flammable liquid, it's not going to extinguish teammates like Girardi or Mad Milk. But Pyro doesn't really have an issue with extinguishing people anyway, so it doesn't matter. And you would also probably take damage from your own grounded fire, but because Pyro doesn't ignite, that's also not really a big deal. Just don't stand still in your own fire. And like Girardi and the likes, it has a 20-second recharge. And there you go, Pyro gets away of some area denial. Could be cool. Could be rad. Alright, there we go. Yeah. Isn't it crazy how inflammable and flammable mean the same thing? It's crazy, right? Really makes you think. Makes you think about everything. That was the Pyro weapon ideas. You got any better? Let me know. Next time's gonna be the soldier. Wow, we're that far into this already. Then after that, scout, and then I don't know what's after that. Yeah. I didn't have an ending for this one, so you're just listening to me ramble. If you're still listening this far, you can stop that right now, because I'm gonna stop talking after this. I lied. Now we're done right now.